Alright, so this might turn into a rant because there's a lot of things I want to say about it, but it's a topic I really wanted to talk about, which is armor. A lot of people have a notion that armor needs to be full plate in order for it to be protective. In reality, you can have something like half plate, which is what I'm wearing right now, and the main difference between half plate and full plate is half plate, you have half of the plate armor on. Be it you have a breastplate on and a helmet, maybe some leg protection, or like what I do, which is I have my arms protected and my shoulders, but I don't have a breastplate on. It equals out to the same thing. I use my arms as the shield instead of worrying about my chest, because in my opinion, when I'm sparring or doing anything of the kind, I don't want anything coming close to my chest anyways. So I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure I can protect myself before it reaches that point. Is it the best way of doing it? I got no idea. But it's how I like to do things. Because after sparring without any protective gear, it's really not all that hard to keep a point away from your chest. Now, there are situations where if someone's better than you, it's really hard to do, and that's fine. That really is fine. The skill difference will make a huge difference on how you move and react. But that's all about sparring. When it comes to armor, it really comes down to where you live. That's why so many different areas had different armor designs. Your classic European Gothic Knight armor, as much as I love it, it is a very beautiful set of armor, is not the most ideal. So wind started to pick up, so I decided to do a little voiceover here just to actually clarify what I was trying to say, which is you do not want to be wearing full plate in very warm environments. It's not ideal due to the fact you will overheat and it will become a problem. Hope that clarifies. I hope the wind has died down. Thank you very much for watching, by the way. Especially with how thick some gambesons can be. Because there are different ways of protecting your chest and your torso. A thick gambeson and chainmail is more than enough to actually protect yourself and make sure you're safe. I do have a surcoat on as well, which does add a little bit, not much, but a very small amount of extra protection. But it's better than nothing. And I can still pretty much fairly move how I want to. Now, because of how my armor is, it is not fitted for me. My gauntlets are way too big for me. Pauldrons don't sit where they should be all the time. But I still feel generally safe in it. It does hinder some of my movements because all of my movements end up like this type of motion right here is awkward. But being able to have more basic movements feels just fine. Either way, again, this awkward, but that is perfectly fine. And that's the thing, is the type of clothing you're wearing is 100% gonna change how you fight. When you have arms that are highly protected, you can use them as a shield. You don't need to be worried so much about your chest sometimes if you have the nice bare minimum of protection. If again, like I said, you're using your arms as shields. Even if someone's going in for attack, both of your arms are now ready. Even if you have your sword here, if they attack from the side, well, all you have to do, either step into it, step off to the side, and just, again, use this as protection. Is it the safest way to do it all the time? Yes and no. Really comes down to the strike and what they're using. But I'd much rather use this for what it's designed for, which is stopping hits, than trying to put myself in an awkward position with my sword to try to parry. it's just one of those things for myself. If someone's doing a strike to the side, which I don't know why they would be trying to go to a strike to the side, because my side's all protected. They should be trying to aim for my chest. But if they do try to go for my side, and my sword's here, I can just keep my hand up. I can keep my arm in a way that's going to stop it, where I can just lunge in. But that completely changes how I move. If I don't have any of this armor on, I wouldn't be blocking with my arm. I would be trying to step out of the range, or trying to go in to a parry, then go for a strike. So yes, the armor you're wearing, your clothing, all that changes how you move. And there's nothing wrong with doing things in a way that you're comfortable with. As of right now, wearing this, I am sweated. Like, it is really warm. There's a nice breeze, but even then, I am warm. Trying to do basic movements is hindered a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that. So when it comes down to armor, don't be afraid to be a little awkward with it, because it takes time to get used to. Be it trying to get used to the extra weight on yourself, or trying to find a proper balance that you still feel comfortable in, but still able to move. Don't be afraid to try out different armor designs. There's lots of different armor designs from all sorts of different history that is just as protective as your stereotypical Gothic armor. You don't need a massive amount of plate armor on you just to be safe on a battlefield. Your weapon, your shield, your skill, all those factors will make sure you are safe. You don't even need all this armor if you have a nice shield, because a shield is going to protect you almost as much as all this armor. Having all this armor just means you're basically covered in a shield more than anything else. That's the way I look at it, is covered in a shield basically. I don't have to worry about those sides as much. Now, yes, there are ways of getting past it. If you go in for a grapple, have a nice little knife or dirk, get in between the gaps, yes, you're going to have issues. But again, that's all coming down to the differences of sparring and fighting. That's not the armor itself. Every armor has its weak point. Every armor has its problems. Your stereotypical hoplite or your Spartan armor, I still love it. It is equally very protective. The difference was it was made for an environment that was very warm. So yeah, they didn't really have a whole lot of clothing underneath of it because they were in a very warm environment. You don't want to be cooking your soldiers alive. So they worked with what they could. Now, there are heavier sets of hoplite armor that is more protective, but is it historically accurate? It's hard to say. But that is just my notion on armor. You really don't need full Gothic plate armor to be protective. All sorts of different armor designs can work. Even again, something like this, I don't got a breastplate on, but my arms are protective. Like, again, this is my shield, so I can still function. But I will leave it off on that one. I do hope this was able to come across as informative and you were able to learn something, even if it's just a little bit. I myself would much rather you guys learn something than nothing. But I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I do appreciate all the support you guys give me. I really do. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you guys soon.